Hey, welcome to the Antonio Neves Show, where I remind you each and every week that no matter where you stand today, your story isn't over yet. The best is ahead. I'm your host, Antonio Neves. I am the founder of Allies of Glory, and I am the author of Stop Living on Autopilot. And this is episode 122. And in this episode, we are going to dig into giving yourself a performance review and setting you up for a plot twist. Yes, a plot twist if needed. Hey, before we dig into the content of this episode, I want to let you know that Allies of Glory, my community where married professionals with kids level up their professional and personal lives, we are opening up registration very soon. Look, with Allies of Glory, it provides the trainings, the systems, the weekly challenges, coaching, and most importantly, the community to help you upgrade the areas of your life that matter most. So if you want to make sure you are improving every 30 days, that you have somewhere to be with trainings, with expert sessions where you learn from some of the most amazing experts from across the world, with live coaching and so much more, make sure you head on over to alliesofglory.com. That link is in the show notes. Once again, alliesofglory.com. All right, let's get into this episode. Look, it is now officially September. That means that we have just 4 months remaining in this year. And what I like to do at this time of the year as we transition to fall, and depending upon where you are, it might be getting a little bit colder. This is the perfect time of the year for a quick check-in, a personal performance review, if you will, and evaluation just to see how things are going. You know, I find it so fascinating how we will give reviews and performance reviews and evaluations like to everything except for ourselves. Of course, if you work for an organization every 6 months or every year, they're giving you a review to see how you're doing. Guess what? If you drive a vehicle every 3,000, 5,000 miles, you're going to get it in to get checked out to change the oil. But very rarely do we change our own oil. Very rarely do we give ourselves our own reviews, our own diagnostic tests. So that's what we're going to do in this episode. But here's what's different. We're going to have fun with this. I don't want this to be all serious and heavy. No, I want it to be light. I want it to be fun. So for me to have fun, I like to ask questions. So here's how your evaluation is going to go. Here's the question. If your 2022, the year of 2022, if your 2022 so far was a movie, would you keep watching the movie or would you be bored and walk out? Seriously, imagine you're watching television and you're watching your life so far, the first 8 months of 2022, it's on the screen. Would you keep watching? Would you be fascinating? Like, yo, this movie is amazing. These first 8 months of 2022 are, whoa, it's fantastic. Or would you be bored? Would you say, yo, this movie is straight up predictable? Like, yo, I am about to fall asleep. Let me find something else. Let me channel surf. To take this another level, here's the question. If nothing changes, like in the first 8 months of this year, if nothing changes moving forward from what you've done so far, if nothing changes, are you moving towards a future that will make you proud or one that will break your heart? Again, if nothing changes, a future that's better or a future that's worse. Now, when it comes to evaluations and reviews, I like to break these down in 3 areas. So what I want you to do after listening to this is to think about, yo, how has this year gone for you personally? Are you moving towards things being better or worse? How have things gone for you professionally in your career? How have things been so far with your finances? How have things been with your health? How have things been with your fitness? And how have things been with those relationships in your life that matter most. If you had to rate those key areas of personal, of professional, of financial, of health, fitness, and relationships, would you rate yourself with a passing grade, with a failing grade, or somewhere in the middle? What I want you to do is to be honest with yourself when you evaluate these key areas. And typically, in my experience, of course, as a coach, no one is on fire typically in all key areas. But what's wild is if one area is off, let's say those relationships that matter most, if you're not connecting with community, you're not connecting with friends, you have a disconnect with your partner, your wife, husband, your spouse, that can have a negative effect on everything else. Same thing, if things aren't going good in your career, if you're not fulfilled, that can affect the health choices that you make. That can affect whether or not you're working out or not. If you aren't working out on a regular basis, that can affect everything else as well. So take some time to just evaluate yourself. Say from a scale of 1 to 5, with 1 being not so great and 5 being fantastic, how are you doing in those key areas? And here's what I want you to do, though. If you don't like the answers that you come up with, I don't want you to beat yourself up. That's not what this is about. This isn't a report card that says, oh, you're doing horrible or this isn't great. No, whatever you come up with as you evaluate yourself, as you give yourself this performance review, instead of beating yourself up if you don't like the answers, what I want you to do is to instead get curious. Get curious about these key areas and start to wonder about what you could do potentially to improve some things. Like, what's that one small step you could take to improve your personal finances, that you could do to improve your things at the job, things you can improve, things you can do to improve your health, your fitness, etc. What's that one thing you can do today? Another thing you can do is evaluate, like, what are some of those things that you have stopped doing, that got you to where you are today? Maybe you used to truly have those end of the day conversations with your spouse where you guys could connect and get on the same page, but you're not doing that anymore. Maybe you work out first thing in the morning before the day got to you and you're not doing that anymore. Maybe you can look forward to doing that again. Maybe you scheduled some quality time with your kids. You made sure it was on the calendar every single week, but you're busy and life got in the way and you're not doing that anymore. Maybe at the office, you used to speak up a little bit more in meetings and share your perspective and your opinions, but now you're not doing that as much. Start thinking about what are some things that you've stopped doing, some of things, and if you reintroduce them, what positive difference could it make? I'm not inviting you to introduce everything, but what are some of those key things that if you did reintroduce them, it can make a big difference? Now, let me ask you another powerful question. If you don't like the answers, if you don't like your review so far and where things are, again, if your life was a movie, what would the lead character start doing to turn things around? Now, that's a fun question. If your life was a movie, what would the lead character start doing to turn things around? What would the plot twist be? You know, in every movie, there's always some type of plot twist that changes things for the better. So what could the plot twist be for you personally, professionally, financially, health, and your fitness, and your relationships? What could that plot twist be for you to turn things around? One last way to think about this, and I'm asking these questions from a coaching perspective, intentionally trying to separate you from it. And this question is one of those questions that allows you to reframe how you view this. Again, if you don't love how this personal review is going right now, let's say a dear friend of yours, someone you really, really care about, was in the exact same position that you're in right now. If they were in the exact same position that you're in right now, whether from a career perspective, relationship perspective, health, fitness, finances, etc., what would you tell them to do? What advice would you give them if they were in your shoes? Odds are you know exactly what you need to do to create that plot twist. You know exactly what you need to do to start to turn these things around. You know exactly what you need to do to say, yes, I want to continue to watch this movie. That is my life. So I can end the year strong. Once again, it's September now. You got 4 months to go in this year. I want you to end this year strong. I want you to have some fun. I want December 31st to come and for you to say, you know what, this year was all right. I put in the work. I did what I needed to do. I created those necessary plot twists. I started doing those things I needed to do to turn things around. So, what is the plot twist that needs to happen in those key areas of your life for you to get back on track? Hey, thank you so much for listening to this episode. Once again, registration for Allies of Glory, my community where married professionals with kids level up their professional and personal lives. Registration opens up soon. To get on the wait list, head on over to alliesofglory.com. Get really ready to level up and accelerate those key areas like your career, like your finances, like your relationships, your health, your fitness, and so much more. And hey, if you have not left a review or a rating for the Antonio Neves Show, I invite you to do so right now. That is how we keep people learning about this show and spreading the word. Hey, until next time, I will see you soon.